Tonight, we are trading asphalt for dirt. It's week 2 of SRX racing on CBS. This time, we're joining you from the famed Knoxville Raceway in the heart of the Midwest, just outside of Des Moines, Iowa. We are moments away from the action. Time now to turn to Sean McManus, chairman of CBS Sports, and his daughter Maggie with the command to start engines. Sean?
Drivers, start your engines.
Saturday night, under the lights, legends.
Who will take the chicken flag?
Here we go. Buckle up.
Let me introduce you to a brand new thing. No one gotta prove to. You're looking at the king. This life may choose you. So raise your wings. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Ooh, the brand new. Watch this, watch this, watch this. This is a brand new thing.
CBS Superstar Saturday Night presents the Camping World SRX Series. Oh, it is a steamy one here in Knoxville, Iowa, but let me tell you, these folks would not have it any other way. That's because this is the heart of grassroots racing in America. I'm Lindsay Zarniak, and if you've never seen a dirt race, man, are you in for a treat tonight. Right now, we're going to get you up to the booth to Alan Bestwick and driver, trailblazer, Danica Patrick. Guys, for folks out there who have never seen racing on dirt, what should they expect?
Lindsay, thanks. I think they should expect a fun night of some drivers kind of figuring it out as they go. Danica, you've raced on dirt just a little bit.
Just a little.
What's racing on dirt like?
Well, you know, it's a little bit like snow. You know, when you're driving on the snow, there's the smooth part, and then, you know, say you get sliding and you catch a little edge, you catch the berm, you catch the soft stuff. You're looking for that. You're looking for the texture. You're looking for fresh snow, essentially, fresh dirt to catch an edge, to get your right rear into for grip. But things change quickly all night. So I'm no pro at it, but I know that rubber gets laid down eventually. So we're going to see a lot of things change very quickly, and adapting is going to be of the most importance.
All right, let's take a look at our 12-driver field for tonight's event, drawn by random pick Tony Stewart. The guy with maybe the most dirt racing experience of our 10 weekly pros is on the pole position for tonight's event. He did that by random draw. There's Brandon Brown, our local track hero. He's a 4-time champion here at Knoxville Raceway. Haley Deegan subbing for Tony Kanaan this week. Will Elliott's got more experience racing on dirt than you might think. He'll be one to keep an eye on tonight. Willie T. Ribbs got faster and faster each lap of practice he got. And then we get back toward Elio Castroneves, still with that big smile even after his first practice laps on the dirt. He said, "I love it." Paul Tracy in the last row, and the ringer tonight, Scott Bloomquist, 600-time winner in dirt late model racing. So our Paul Tracy on board is going to give us our first view and our first listen on the night. Let's talk to PT.
Let's go down to PT. This is Danica. Paul, can you hear me?
I hear you, Danica. Hey, what kind of shoes you got on?
I love that's what you're thinking about. They're beautiful high-heeled, just kidding, they're tennis shoes. Nobody can see my feet. So, hey, coming from open wheel, pavement, what is the hardest thing about racing on dirt?
Well, the only thing I can equate this to is I've never driven on dirt, but it's like racing in the rain on an Indy car on a street course. It's all about throttle control, being smooth. You don't want to throw it too sideways and spin the tires. You just got to get the car straight and get it off the corner. And I got Scott friggin' Bloomquist beside me, so he told me he's going to punch a big hole for me, and I'm going to follow him.
All right, sounds like you got someone great to follow. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Paul getting ready to go. Now, the rules for tonight, we've tweaked things up a little bit. The series listened to your feedback, and we're going to do 12-minute timed races for our 2 heats. The finish order of the first, then inverted for the start of the second, then the average finish of the two races will determine how you start in the main event. It'll be a 50-lap main event tonight. Cautions do not count. And the colors on the cars, the drivers will remain in the same color car for each of our 6 races this week. And you'll also see those colors embedded in our on-screen graphics across the top of the screen as we get going in the race. We've added more colors. The drivers' names are bigger on the side of the cars. Yeah, you got it. And we're ready.
Well, they've got the real estate on the side of the car. We might as well use it. More color, more name.
Absolutely. So on the 1-to-go lap here at Knoxville, this place is one of the most storied, famous dirt tracks in all the world. You see, it's got some 21,000 seats around it. They have a race here in August called the Knoxville Nationals that draws people from everywhere to it. These fans, great race fans here, they've been waiting for this race. Big autograph session this afternoon. Now they want to see the superstars do it on the dirt. Here we go. Green flag for heat race number 1 at Knoxville. Stewart in the orange, Andretti in the black on the front row through turn 2.
Oh, you can see that. You can see how the cars pick up that berm. They're looking for grip, looking for turn. It's funny when you hear drivers that race on dirt talk to you, even in pavement racing. Like Tony Stewart has talked to me about this many times over the years. They use such different terminology. I think they're maybe get in the mud. I think that's what Tony would say getting down to the bottom. Get in the mud.
Marco Andretti, that was at the drop of the green flag. He was sideways and trying to keep it off the guardrail. So into second place around Andretti after he wrestled his car is Haley Deegan, the 19-year-old from California, daughter of Brian Deegan, the X Games star, and she's in here in second place in the early going. There's Brian Brown in the star-spangled car in that race for fourth place. And head downstairs to the pit lane at Knoxville and introduce Big Brad Daugherty.
Thanks, AB. We're talking a little bit tonight about the crew chiefs. We've got 4 legendary crew chiefs making the calls. Each will have 4 drivers. We've got Mike Beam, Jeff Hammond. We've also got Todd Parrott. Absolutely outstanding pedigree. But the guy is Guy Forbrook. Guy is a local legend here. He has over 87 wins at this racetrack, 11 track championships. He's here to collect some hardware, so it should be fun to watch. Matt, what do you have?
Well, Brad, Truck Series competitor Haley Deegan. Her family has dirt in their DNA. Earlier, we talked about how her dad, Brian, an extreme sports legend. It didn't matter if it was on 2 or 4 wheels. He always impressed. And Haley has picked up that same car control, that same touch. She won on the dirt in Las Vegas in the K&N car, but she missed practice on Friday night due to her Truck Series schedule. She got about 5 laps about an hour ago, and then she had a long debrief from the guy that she's following right now. Tony Stewart has the most dirt experience of anybody in the field, and he gave her about 3 things to follow, and right now it's paying off, and she's following him and making it exciting.
So Deegan running second behind Stewart there. Tony in the orange car, Deegan in the magenta colored machine. Back around 5th place, got a big knot of cars. There's Brian Brown, the local track hero in the red, white, and blue car. Bill Elliott behind him. Then Paul Tracy, who moved up from 11th on the grid. And remember, your starting order for Heat 2, the invert of the finish of this one, and your average of the 2 is going to be where you start the main event. So Paul's got a lot to gain by going forward in this heat.
And he has. He said he was going to follow Bloomquist, but Bloomquist is way behind him. But what I'm seeing is Brian Brown, who, you know, you think could be pushing his way through. They're stacked up behind him. I think all the cars are quicker. Bill Elliott's been on his tail the whole time, really pushing him. And now Paul Tracy, you know, Paul can push it. Paul is a driver that tends to err on the side of overdrive, I might say. So I think they get to change the rear tires for the feature, but, you know, he's using them up right now. So I say go for it. You know, all these things are good points, and it's tough to pass.
Tracy is going forward, and Deegan continues to stalk Stewart for the lead. Brian Brown, you know, unlike last week where Doug Colby was driving at a track where he had so many laps on in a car that he wasn't as familiar with, This car might as well be from another planet for Brian Brown compared to the sprint car that he runs here on a weekly basis. We'll show you more about that a little bit later. On board here with Paul Tracy, moving forward in the green car, the lime green machine.
So much work on the wheel. I think people don't understand just how much is going on just inside of the cockpit. With every turn of the hands, there's something going on with the feet too. They're pedaling. They're trying to find the grip. They're trying to not overdrive the tire. It's quite an orchestra inside the cockpit. If I had to actually think about all the things that were going on inside the cockpit that I was doing, I'd be overwhelmed.
Sounds complicated, yes. Hailie Deegan put a lot of pressure on Tony Stewart for the lead in this first of our 2 heat races. Tony going to move up the track. Deegan going to look down low. Nothing doing there off turn 2. Pretty impressive to jump in a car, get 5 laps of practice, and then be out there keeping up with Smoke.
Yeah, I'd say Smoke has got a lot of dirt experience. Hailie does too. I mean, Hailie's been on the dirt. She's slid cars around quite a bit, but there's not quite like as much as Tony has done. So you can see that Tony's running that higher line. He's trying to make her go the long way around, and that's a smart thing to do. Another thing that happens up on the top is that you keep momentum up. So you can see that when you come off the corner, off of 2 and off of 4, there's a little bit of a pulls her just a little bit down the straightaways. She's taking the shorter line in the corners, but he has momentum coming off.
Drivers on a dirt track constantly searching for moisture. Where the dirt is drier, it's slipperier. So where you as a driver behind the wheel can spot a little bit of moisture, that's just that ever slightest bit of advantage.
They're looking for the mud.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes that's on the very bottom, and sometimes that's on the very top.
So got a good race for the lead, got a good race for 6th as we come up to halfway through this first of our Camping World SRX Series heat races tonight in Knoxville.
Hailie's really putting pressure on Tony. What do you think? Think she's going to get him?
Not this time.
Not this time.
No, just a little too. She slipped just a little bit there off the bottom.
You can see she's
of 4.
using up her right rear for sure, but I think the 12 minutes might run out.
Just a peek. All right, Stewart and Deegan racing for the lead. An SRX Series race number 2 tonight from the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville, Iowa. Back live on Superstar Saturday night. Yellow flag out in heat race number 1 here at Knoxville Raceway in Iowa. So Paul Tracy, we talked about him doing so well earlier. He's bounced it off the wall a couple of times.
Oh, is he pushing it too much out there?
And that is what brought out the yellow flag.
Oof. You know, he could have just gotten that right rear hot. I mean, that's, this is one of those things that happens when you slide around too much. Another thing that's interesting about these cars is that, when you lift, you don't always slow down or perhaps go left. Sometimes it wants to pull right because it's set up so uniquely and dramatically to get the car to be able to slide through the corner. I'm speaking from experience when I say it went right instead of left when I lifted, and there was maybe some crash damage.
In your brief experience racing dirt at Eldora? In the Boss's charity race, yeah.
That's right.
All right, so we're getting ready to go. Here you see the clock down to 2 minutes to go in this heat race number 1. Stewart orange inside, Deegan magenta outside, green flag.
Marco's looking all right on these restarts. I wonder if the car starts off being strong and then maybe perhaps gets too tight or gets too loose on him. But at the beginning of the race, he looked pretty good. And here he is passing Hailie for second. So we'll see if he's got something for Tony.
Marco Andretti, one of those guys in the field that has basically no experience racing dirt other than jumping in a friend's dirt racing car, a midget-type car, if you're familiar with auto racing terminology, getting a few laps on a racetrack in Pennsylvania. That's it, until he got here last night. And he got out of the car after his practice laps. I said, how'd it go? He had a smile on his face and said it was fun.
I mean, there is a fun element to being sideways.
Yeah.
It's just when it doesn't do exactly the sideways that you were hoping for and misses the mark on middle of the corner on exit, all of a sudden the fun goes out the window. And you're like, that was just hard.
Yeah, that wasn't fun anymore, right? Jump the line. So Andretti managed to shut the door on Deegan for second. It's Ernie Francis in the yellow car third, then Paul Tracy all the way from 11th up to 5th, despite those 2 times bouncing off the guardrail. There's a little jam up in 2. Andretti slipped, and the traffic bunched up behind him.
I think as you see Paul get free of Brown finally, he's in 5th now. I think he's gonna make a run here at 4th, and we'll see if he has enough time to get by Francis Jr. But I think he was really strong when he was running back there behind Brown. So
here goes Marco Andretti inside of Tony Stewart for the race lead. He nudged him off of turn number 2 to make a little lane for himself. Tony with that top lane run to hang on. And the white flag is out. We're in the last lap of heat number 1. Stewart orange, Andretti black. Here comes Deegan in the magenta car.
hang on to her, Marco.
Yeah, not going to be enough to catch Tony Stewart. So checkered flag in heat number 1 tonight. Oh, spin off turn 4. Into the outside. I kept it off the wall. Yeah, Michael Waltrip got a little nudge from behind and spun it around.
Ooh.
Is that Elio?
Brown.
Brian Brown, okay.
Perfect little pirouette. No crash damage.
And somehow, remarkably, we went through that entire heat with no crash damage. 23 laps in. Tony Stewart started on pole, led all the laps, but it wasn't easy. Pressured a good deal of the way, and our wheels up Heat Race 1 winner, Tony Stewart, will invert the field and set him up for heat number 2 next.
Camping World SRX Series on CBS is sponsored by Camping World, America's #1 RV dealer, and by Progressive. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance.
You're taking a car, okay, I'm going to run it asphalt this week, I'm going to run it at dirt next week, and that's going to be weird.
Last dirt race I did was 1986 in Wichita, Kansas. I qualified second. Never been on the dirt in my life. It was the most fun I'd ever had.
I love going to dirt races. I loved it. I just not that good at it.
I have absolutely 0 laps on dirt. The last time I was on dirt, I got my Jeep stuck in the mud.
Closest that I have been was with BMX when I was probably 11 years old.
Done a little bit in the dirt. Grew up riding dirt bikes.
I had a ball when I ran dirt, but in a whole different realm of reality here.
It's going to be fun to see which drivers adapt right away and which drivers it takes a little longer.
It's a big challenge. It's going to take a lot of luck, I would say.
If there's any of the races I'm looking forward to, it's getting dirty. And we will be dirty.
You know, the drivers at least have a sense of humor about the dirt racing. Welcome back to the Camping World SRX Series. We've wrapped Heat 1. Here's a look at the results. Again, Tony Stewart, the Heat 1 winner. Haley Deegan, notable in third. She told me she had a 10-minute layover this morning. She had to haul it through the airport just to make it to this event. Paul Tracy gaining the most spots. Infinite, the new Paramount Plus original movie starring Mark Wahlberg and directed by Antoine Fuqua, is now streaming only on Paramount Plus. Stay with us here on CBS. We'll be on track again for Heat 2 when we return. Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway. The starting spots for Heat 2 determined by inverting finishing spots from Heat 1. Alan Bestwick and Danica Patrick in the booth. A lot on the line in this heat, guys.
Yep, they'll be racing to get that average finishing position for the start and the feature. First, though, let's talk to the winner of Heat 1. Let's dial up Tony Stewart, Danica.
Let's do it. Smoke, this is Danica. You got me?
I got the D.
So, congrats on the win in the first heat. Now, you had some people breathing down your neck. Were you in control of that pace? or were you feeling the pressure?
Well, Haley for sure is, she knows how to do this. She won a K&N race at Vegas, so she knows how to run these heavy cars on dirt. Just trying to get the lead initially, and then trying to take care of the tires here to, make sure we run 2 full heats on them and try to keep her slipping it as much as possible. So now we get to do the hard work and come from the back here. So see if we can take care of it and get back up there again.
Copy that. Fun to watch. Good luck.
All right, Tony Stewart now lined up for this one, last for the start of heat number 2 since he won heat number 1.
Which will be fun to watch.
It will be a lot of fun to watch. Front row, Michael Waltrip and Willie T. Ribbs, although some cars did pit under the brake. We'll talk about that in a minute. First, the green flag is out for heat number 2. One in the wall right away. Paul Tracy bounced it off turn 4.
Saw that coming down the front straightaway. You can always leave it up to Paul Tracy to push it, though. Love watch. It's fun to watch.
Hard charging has never been something he's been afraid of.
No.
Michael Waltrip up out of the bottom line, coming through underneath him for the race lead is Elio Castroneves.
I find it super impressive how adaptable Elio is in all these conditions with a different car, now on dirt. I mean, and he just won his 4th Indy 500. He's truly talented.
Yeah, we heard him say in that piece a minute ago. Last time he raced anything on dirt was a bicycle when he was about 11 or 12 years old. He got here. Yeah, I know. He got here last night, got behind the wheel of a car for the first time, and when he got out of it, I was standing right there, and he said, "That is so much fun." And you can picture Elio saying that. Here's the green flag on the second heat.
And that's the same spot that he caught the wall in the first heat.
What's that telling you? He's gassing it up hard.
He's looking at the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's giving it all he can. I mean, it's a start, and for guys like Paul Tracy and a few others who are known for their restarts and known for their starts, like that's an area where, a guy like him goes for it.
Now, Tony Stewart has already moved up to 6th position. He's working on Brian Brown for 5th place as he tries to gain advantage for the main event. There's Stewart in the orange car. Paul Tracy slides up in front of him.
He's been running the high line. I've been watching him. He's been going around the outside of everybody. So if there's anybody that is going to, have the most experience knowing where to find the grip, it's Tony. That's one of those things about dirt drivers that's so unique, is their ability to find the grip all over the track. And so they've learned it in dirt racing, but trust me, they can still do the same thing on pavement.
Yeah, you bet. So I mentioned a couple of cars were on the pit lane between the 2 heat races. Matt, what do you got on that?
3 different drivers had overheating issues: Alan, Ernie Francis, Willie T. Ribbs, and Bill Elliott. Now, the car that had the most damage was Bill Elliott. His fender was cracked and broken. He got into something. There was a little bit of green on there, so it might have been Paul Tracy. They put some Bear Bond to try to seal that up. And if you're Ernie Francis, you've always heard that saying, just tip the mirror up. It doesn't matter what's behind you. Well, it doesn't matter because he doesn't have a mirror anymore. A chunk of clay flew up and hit the back side of the mirror, shattered that mirror. So going on, doesn't have to worry about looking behind him.
That was a line from a movie several years back, Matt. What's behind me doesn't concern me. I believe that was like Cannonball Run, maybe Gumball Rally. I forget which. It's been a lot of years ago. So really interesting racing back in the field. Behind the front 3, Castroneves, Scott Bloomquist, and Michael Waltrip, because Paul Tracy's in the 4th spot. Tony Stewart tried to pass him twice on the outside, and Tracy said no.
I think I saw him earlier shut the door on probably Brian Brown coming out of 4. He's putting the hammer down, as they'd say.
How about Elio leading the race? Now here's that fight. Tony in the orange car, Paul Tracy in the lime green machine, Brian Brown in the patriotic machine, still tussling there to the inside. And this is 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Then you've got Haley Deegan right there behind Tony on the outside. Those are the dirt racers. They know where to go to find some grip and find a place to pass them. That's another thing that dirt racers are so creative at, is just how to get by somebody. One thing that I've yet to see, though, is the slide job. I am looking for the slide jobs here tonight, which we'll talk about probably more as we go along, but that is such a technique.
So I mentioned that Paul Tracy said no when Tony Stewart tried to pass him on the outside. Here's how he said it.
Oh, that was Tony.
Yeah, that was Tony.
Tony won't forget.
Oh, no.
No.
Well, one of the things in the lead up to all of this, to our Superstar Racing experience, we talked to different drivers. Tony Stewart said one of the great things about this series was he'd never been able to race somebody like Paul's racing before. Well, you got it now.
I can tell you that is a really cool thing as a driver to be able to race against drivers that you've watched and been a fan of and cheered for and, you know, admired for their talent and their abilities, to be able to then go out and race head to head with them. It's just something cool to be able to do in your career.
And especially to come to places that you've heard about, you've seen on television, but, you know, you've never had a chance to do while you were competing for a championship.
Right. For those who don't know, Knoxville is, just a huge, this is such a popular race. This is one of the biggest dirt races of the year, the Knoxville Nationals. I've been here for it. It is, and it's quite the party, I must say.
Yeah, yes,
if you're looking for a party late at night, Knoxville Nationals.
So Ernie Francis in the yellow car, Brian Brown, the local hero, who has never raced something with fenders on it before, learning their usefulness.
It's kind of fun to have fenders, I must say.
You've experienced that journey.
That was, you know, my first stock car race, I remember it was down in Daytona, and I just was able to bump side by side, and I had a ball. I thought it was the coolest thing. That's really dangerous in an open wheel car because you can climb wheels. So stock cars, you know, what's it the same? Robbins Racing.
Yeah. From the movie.
Yeah.
Days of Thunder. Elio Castroneves leading heat number 2 as we come to the midway point, and the caution flag will wave in our second heat race. Castroneves with the ringer Scott Bloomquist behind him, and Michael Waltrip running third as we hit the yellow flag. So, you know, a week ago I kind of on the spot termed it the fun flag. There's actually something in the SRX rulebook called the SRX green flag lap limit. We just hit it in this heat race. Caution flag.
Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, thank you. I needed a minute to clean up the mess I made.
I think I was part of it.
Camping World SRX Series live at Knoxville Raceway in Iowa on this very steamy Saturday night. Get ready for the restart in the second of our 2 heat races tonight. Elio Castroneves is the leader. Scott Bloomquist, winner of over 600 dirt late model races, to his outside in the gold car. Green flag.
Elio got on the throttle, a little sideways on the start, allowed Bloomquist to get by him, and now PT. From the back like a champ.
And defending spots now up front to help his starting position for the main event. One of the changes made to the format for this week. Starting position for the main event is based on the average finish in the 2 heat races. Scott Bloomquist lit it up and went in that gold car on the restart.
Did PT get the wall again on the front straightaway? Possibly.
How about 3 wide for third place? Oh, there's Tracy up in the marbles. That's going to cost him. Now, Paul had a tough night at Stafford a week ago when his car got damaged early on, and he kind of soldiered around the rest of the evening. Just lost a bunch of positions there.
That's frustrating. These are well-earned positions when you get by cars out here. Since everybody's running on the bottom, there's really none of these slide jobs happening that I was alluding to. So, you know, to be up there at the front, be running and vying for second place from starting in the back, you know, it's pretty frustrating to lose. What did you lose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots at least. So he was probably going to be pretty close to having a front row start.
Yep, was going to be. Being the operative term, past tense. So Bloomquist leads, Castroneves second, Francis is third, Michael Waltrip is fourth, being challenged there by Haley Deegan for fifth. This the knot a little back.
Little 2 ribs on the inside.
That's a cool view.
Just shows how much the cars move around. I know it's very tough when you're looking It's a little harder anyway to see. I mean, we can see they're sideways, but when you're looking at it really close like that, you can just see how much car movement there is and how much control. Like every time you can see that car, Ribbs' car come around, that's him working the throttle, working the steering wheel. There's a lot going on in that. You're very, very busy inside the cockpit on dirt tracks especially. Oh, spin out of 4.
And one into the outside wall. That is Paul Tracy. And the caution flag is out with less than a minute to go in this second heat.
It's getting from bad to worse for PT out here.
Yeah. Now the question is how much is the damage to that?
That's pretty bad. The right front bodywork is hiked up pretty bad. It looks like it might be pretty close to cutting into that right front tire too. They're going to have to pull it out. Might even have to cut some of it. What happened here? Just spun.
Gassed her up off turn 4 and away it went.
He's running up pretty high. The groove is moving up a little bit. There's definitely, we can see it in the second heat, people, making their passes around the outside. So he's just pushing it, getting up a little bit higher, getting on the throttle a little bit harder. Probably a little bit frustrated from losing all those spots, but look at that. Hand over fist, grabbing wheel. Here we go. Up. With green-white checkered coming up.
Yeah, well.
I think he gassed it up.
He's not been afraid to gas it up, but I think he's about used up the right side of that car in these 2 heat races. And the SRX crew will have a little work to do to get Paul shaped up for the main event. So we're through the time clock in our second heat race, so we go to a green-white checker finish. So it's Scott Bloomquist and Elio Castroneves in row 1, Ernie Francis Jr. and Michael Waltrip in row 2, and watch out for Hailie Deegan and Tony Stewart in row 3. Green flag, 2 laps to go.
Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble putting the power down. He got a little sideways in the middle of 1 and 2. Gave just enough room for Elio to get a little run, but he knows what he's doing out here. He's sliding up, making it hard on Elio. And look at that, Francis Jr., he's been strong. He ran pretty well in the first heat, too, for having very little experience. Ernie Francis Jr. is doing a really good job. Running second now.
Spin behind the pack, log jam for 3rd place. Michael Waltrip through, Castroneves shoved out of the way. Paul Tracy spun behind everything, did a 360, kept going. Here they come to the checkered flag of heat race number 2. Scott Bloomquist from Tennessee is going to take the checkered flag. It'll be Francis in 2nd, Michael Waltrip in 3rd, Tony Stewart edges Hailie Deegan for 4th. Michael Waltrip put the fastest lap in that race in. Scott Bloomquist, a 2-time late model national champion here at Knoxville. They hold the nationals for the late models as well. So he knows his way to victory lane here at this place. And the 57-year-old from Tennessee, who's got his own terrific story of recovery and return to racing, has got a checkered flag in the SRX series. Well, that was an eventful heat race, wasn't it?
I like that. That was good.
Can't wait to see what the main event brings.
Welcome back to what has been an exciting night of racing here in Knoxville. It's Superstar Saturday Night presented by Camping World. We're gearing up now for the feature event, but currently drivers now working on their cars. Brad Doherty is milling around down there. I know you're around there somewhere, Brad. What are they able to do to these race cars right now?
Yeah, Lindsay, it's a no fuel pit stop, so no one's taking on any fuel. They still have air pressure, wedge, and spring rubber adjustments that they can make. Talk to Todd Parrott. All 4 of his race cars had spring rubbers. The thing that's different tonight, though, is they can change both rear tires. So they're going to add rear tires, trying to find a little bit of extra grip. Matt?
Scott Bloomquist, the ringer in tonight's race here at Knoxville, cautiously optimistic coming in because you've never driven something like this, although it's similar to your dirt late model in many ways. So where was the fun factor for you so far through 2 heats?
Well, early I could see it was difficult to pass, and I didn't want to start too far back at the next one, and we just kind of thought, if we get a decent start in the second one, we might be able to win us a race at least. And now the real race is on. We'll make a few adjustments here and hopefully pick it up a notch. Looks like it's a pretty competitive field though.
A little bit of fun with Elio Castroneves. I still think you're going to get a Christmas card. He didn't say anything on the radio.
That's good. It was a little low-tap. It nothing bad.
Lindsay?
Oh, that's a nice Christmas card list. All right, thank you, Jochen. Let's take a look at the results again from Heat 2. Here you go. There you have it. Scott Bloomquist, the winner. Ernie Francis Jr., who had never run on dirt. Right behind him there in the second spot. Paul Tracy, though, all the way down. Something I found fascinating is the fact that cars did not run on this track until 1901. Actually, that's forever ago if you think about how long ago that was, right? This racetrack, Knoxville Raceway, is seen as a mecca for dirt racers. We have more now at the track, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Knoxville, Iowa is this tiny farming town about 45 minutes southeast of Des Moines. It is a small town with a small town feel, with this racetrack planted right in the center of it.
The track is exactly 1/2 mile in length on the bottom. It's made of black clay. The scientific term is zook clay. Another dirt track anywhere in the world like Knoxville Raceway, there isn't one.
The best drivers in the world struggle here. You hate to say you're proud of that, but we are. When you win here, you've done something special.
It was built in 1878 for horse racing, and it was totally flat.
They put on a race here. First year was 1901. Thousands of people came to look at the cars. Of course, in 1901, there wasn't a lot of cars, let alone racing.
Knoxville started weekly racing in 1954 and became a sprint car track in the late 60s.
We consider ourselves sprint car heaven here. It's a pretty good lineage of drivers that's raced here. Doug Wolfgang, Sammy Swindell, and Steve Kinzer, and they all came here to race.
Knoxville Nationals is the largest sprint car race in the world. It's often referred to as the Indianapolis 500 of dirt track racing. This summer will be the 60th Knoxville Nationals. It grows year after year after year.
You come in, you just can feel it. The energy is just incredible. You're all here for the same thing, and that's to have fun and watch racing. But there's nothing like it in the world. There just isn't.
A legendary racetrack indeed. Now it's time to check in with Matt Yoka. Matt, you're standing by with Elio.
A legendary driver, fresh off his 4th Indy 500 win. Looked like you were poised to score your first dirt win. Was there some confusion?
Yes, so on the yellow flag, they said it's going to be a green and checkered flag. I kind of like confused, but you can't see the color. It's so dusty out there. I can't see if it's white to checkered flag. So I thought it was a checkered flag, so I back off, and then I see everybody's hitting and keep it going. I was like, oh, I guess the race is still on. So I can't believe I need to have someone in the radio to tell me these things, because I can't drive and see everything, especially my first dirt race.
That's what happens when you're so used to having a spotter, and now you go old school, Brad. You're the Lone Ranger behind the wheel.
I love it. I'm here, though, with Brian Brown. He is the man here. Tell us a little bit about those heat races, Brian. What happened? What do you expect going forward? And are you having fun?
Yeah, I'm definitely, man. Can't wipe the smile off my face from lap one. I've never drove a car with fenders before, so it's always with a wing sprint car, open wheel, things like that. So all this here is new to me, and I just didn't want to do something dumb the first heat races and knock the fender off or do something that was, going to embarrass us. So, now it's 50 laps, winner take all, and I think I've learned a lot and put a lot in the memory bank that, can help me here this next 50 laps. So, just want to thank, Camping World, everybody, CBS, Tony, Ray, Sandy, everybody that's allowed me to come and be a part of this SRX series. It's a dream come true to race with guys like Tony and Elio Castroneves, and man, I ain't seen you since Jordan had that shot back in the day.
Oh, come on now. We don't want to talk about that. That was a long time ago. Brian, go out there and put it on him. We're pulling for you. You're the man to beat for sure. I tell you what, you better buckle up, Buttercup, because Brian Brown is coming. Lindsay, they better get ready.
They do. Can I embarrass you? A five-time All-Star? How about that, Doherty? Thursday, looking for some new laughs. United States of Al has joined the powerhouse CBS comedy lineup. From Chuck Lorre, executive producer of The Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon, and Mom. See why folks are saying everyone could use a friend like Al. United States of Al, the season finale, this Thursday, 8:30, 7:30 Central, here on CBS. Everybody at least looks like they're having fun out there. And you heard Ernie Francis Jr. before saying that he's never raced on dirt. Ernie Francis Jr. is one of the guys who is the youngest in the field. But when you add up how long he's raced just as long as some of these legends.
I see a lot of people always commenting on all the SRX posts asking who I am, who Ernie Francis Jr. is. And I think this kind of points it out right here, 7-time Trans Am champion.
Here comes Ernie Francis Jr. and takes the checkered flag here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
So this is where it all began, 20 years ago. My first racetrack, my first go-kart, 20.
I think when you talk about age and the amount of time racing, he's been racing for about 19 years. Because this started at 4 years old. When he finally got into a go-kart, it was just a very exciting moment. Actually, for him, maybe a little bit more scared.
First time I sat in a go-kart, I actually cried. I was not crying because I was so happy. I cried because I was scared. I didn't want to drive it. But yeah, it was right here in the front yard of my house. My dad got me a go-kart, and once I got going, driving around the driveway, then I started getting used to it more.
From morning all the way till evening, he'd want to keep on running with it.
Yeah, I'd pretty much spend all day long just running around the front yard, and before I knew it, we were out at the go-kart track, and I was starting to do races. I'm still considered like a young racer coming up, but I have 19 years of racing experience. There's not a lot of sports where people have that much experience and are still only 23 years old. And now to have the all-time wins record out there, the most consecutive championships, youngest champion, really just incredible feeling to have that. And to have done it all with my family is something that's even better for it.
And as far as this, I think you said you had set this at 3/4.
Yeah, before the race.
But it went up a little bit.
I think because when it's not running, I think it's a little bit...
It just fills it back up again?
Yeah. My mentor has definitely been my dad. Over the past 19 years of my racing career, he's been there for every single year of it. The impact he's had over my life is immense. From watching him race, he was always into cars. My grandfather, he was into cars, kind of passed it down to my dad. And my dad was building cars when he was a 20-something-year-old kid like me. Me being born right into it, I was at the racetrack every day. I was growing up around the smell of race fuel and burning tires, and I grew up in the shop. I think that kind of just changed my whole life to where it's everything that I always knew growing up, and it's something that once I became a part of it, I knew it's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Those two indeed have a special bond. It's really cool to see them having a new opportunity and experience, especially on Father's Day weekend. I understand we've got some breaking news, and for this breaking news here at Knoxville Raceway, we're going to go to Brad Doherty. What is up, Brad?
Yeah, Lindsay, I'm here with series director Ray Evernham, genius behind this thing. Ray, it looks like some of these race cars have worn out the right front tires, banged them up just a little bit. Are you going to make any changes? Are you going to let them change more tires? What are you going to do?
Yeah, we have 4 cars that have damages in the sidewall from them not behaving themselves out there. There's a couple guys trying to make the track a little wider than it is. So we really can't put new tires on that many cars and not put them on all. So I don't like I don't like to do that. Keep everybody fair. We're going to put a right front tire on in addition to 2 rears and try and make it fair for everybody. We're, again, like last week, we got to cool the cars down, cool the drivers down, and I think we'll get going here. But, man, they've had some really, really good racing. I know that Ilio was a little bit upset about the green-white checker, but that's the rule. We do not want to race to end under caution. So we are going to have a green-white checker. There's 1 attempt normally at the 12-minute race, and there'll be as many attempts as we need. We could be here to midnight, right? To get this race to finish under green.
Okay. Well, Matt, Ray says they can't make the racetrack any wider. These guys have to stop hitting the wall. They're going to give them a break this time.
Oh, it's going to get even more exciting, Brad. Now, the thrill from West Hill, Paul Tracy's certainly living up to his nickname. You've had some excitement out there. Anybody's number you want to write on the dash so you don't forget?
I'll tell you what, Matt, I'm about fed up with Michael Waltrip. I'm about to get boogity on him on this next race if I see him. That's 2 weeks in a row. The guy's turned me, slammed into me, so I'll be looking for him.
Oh, yeah. We've got some excitement ready to go for the next 50. Brad.
Yep, hold on, I'm coming. I got to talk to you, Michael. Hold on. Michael, there's some trash talk going on. You didn't even hear it?
What happened?
First of all, how's your butt? How's your head? How are your feet?
Well, I want to tell you something. I don't know if you know this or not, Brad, but I did Dance with the Stars, and big feet ain't for dancing, and they ain't for these little cars. When I was leading, I got my darn foot. Look in here. I got my foot caught above the toe strap where you pull it back when it's wide open. Yeah. Look at all that down there. And
There's a lot going on down there.
There is, and a lot going on the racetrack.
Yeah, well, Paul Tracy says that you just ran all over him. He's not going to take any more of it, Michael. What do you think about this?
Well, will you be around me at the end of the race, because he's a big boy. I don't want to tangle with Paul Tracy, but do you know who spun me out? Because I want to tangle with them. I want to.
Paul Tracy. Well, I think it was Paul Tracy, but it sounds better. Yeah, Paul Tracy spun you out. What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to go spin him out, and if he's wrong, you're going to have to deal with him. If you tell me some bad information, it ain't my fault. In the words of the Osborne brothers, it ain't my fault.
Go get him, Michael. Lindsay, we're coming back to you.
Brad, I don't even know how to follow that up, but I'm going to try my hardest. All right, here goes. We all know that racing is such a family affair, but I'm willing to guess that nobody knows that better than Marco Andretti. That's because Marco's dad, Michael, driver, team owner, and also his grandfather, Mario Andretti, one of the most famous drivers ever in IndyCar. Marco was cool enough to take us behind the curtain. He showed us what it's been like, what it was like as a kid growing up Andretti.
My dad, yeah, he means everything to me. And growing up, I mean, I remember being 3 years old on a four-wheeler, running away from Dad sprinting after me, try to catch me. Best piece of advice that Dad's ever given me? I really can't even pick one thing. You know, there's been so much, and it's been so cool to work with him again. You know, he's in my ear, he's my strategist. You know, he was such a big part of my career, and you know, stuck by me when the chips were down. He's seen me have races in command and lost for whatever reason. You know, some of it fate and luck, some of it mistakes and stuff like that. So, you know, I think he's treated me like I won those races. That's a unique scenario that I had there, and I was blessed to have that type of support throughout my career there. You know, 16, 17 years of professional racing with him, and you know, I just tied him for overall starts in the Indy 500, so I can't wait till I can start giving him advice next year. I'll have more starts than him at Indy. Happy Father's Day. We'll be trying to get you a win in Knoxville.
Marco Andretti just finished full-time racing in IndyCar. This is his first year not doing that. Marco looking to do something big here tonight. He looked at me before he started running tonight and said, I don't know what's going to happen. I've had so few laps here. So everybody's going to be paying attention to see what he can do in this feature. We want to tell you about Wheels Up, a cool moment that happened earlier. Our Wheels Up ambassador was the new women's head coach at Drake University. That would be Allison Pullman showing up, meeting with our Brad Doherty, Tall Persons Convention. Can I say that, Brad? I just did. Yes, they had a lot of fun. They were asking questions. She got a chance to check out the car. Yes, congratulations to Pullman, named new head coach of Drake University.
And now, traveling different with Camping World.
The idea of getting my family into nature is a form of grounding them. And it's raw, it's real, it's dirt, it's trees, it's air. It's that feeling of relaxation that I think a lot of people yearn for. To get that sense of being unplugged when that moment happens as a dad, where you see the kids finally get away in their heads. That's when it hits, you know.
Camping World wants to show you how to travel this summer. Tomorrow on CBS, we kick off our afternoon with the all-female sports talk show, We Need to Talk, and that's followed by LPGA action at the Meyer LPGA Classic, and at 4 Eastern, Portland and Kansas City clash in the NWSL. That's all coming up tomorrow right here on CBS. Guys, I want to know what's coming up tonight. Alan and Danica, I mean, I cannot wait to see what happens between Paul Tracy and Michael Waltrip out there.
Yeah, Lindsay, we had a pretty good bit of action as you see the starting lineup for our main event coming across the screen, and we expect a lot more in this 50-lap feature. Tony Stewart, with a win and a 4th place finish, gets the first starting spot in our main event. And you see we've got 2 youngsters, Francis and Deegan, and 2 drivers with a ton of experience racing on dirt, Stewart and Bloomquist, in the first 2 rows for the feature event.
I can't wait to see how that shakes out with Waltrip and Tracy. They're going to find each other out there in this race, that's for sure.
Here's Brian Brown, local track hero, back in the 8th position. Elio Castroneves, his first experience on the dirt, left him both frustrated and smiling. Bobby Labonte's had a bit of a struggle tonight, but he'll see if he can make some progress. We'll see if Paul Tracy uses up the rest of that car in these 50 laps. And our progressive race analysis tonight, we're going 50 laps with caution flags not counting. And we'll get as many attempts at a green-white checker finish as we need to decide this one. So Stewart and Bloomquist with the heat race wins. Haley Deegan putting herself quite well for our start. And here we go for main event number 2 on our Superstar Racing Experience Camping World Series. Green flag at Knoxville.
Haley getting a little sideways on the bottom, losing a little bit of momentum, but she's got the bottom guarded, so it's going to make it a little tough on Bill Elliott. Whoa.
Elliott in the purple car defending that position. Now looking for some running room up underneath Deegan off of turn number 4. Stewart leads lap 1. Francis and Bloomquist second. Elliott in the purple car inside of Deegan as Marco Andretti goes for a wide slide in turn 2. That's a great look. That's out of Haley Deegan's car with Bill Elliott in the purple machine trying to find some racing room.
Bill got underneath her, and you can just see what that higher line does for momentum. I think we're going to see cars run up a little higher in the race. I hope so anyway. That always makes it more interesting. That's when we're going to start to see those slide jobs come in. People start to be able to run high and low. Then people are going to get a run off the corner, and then they're going to be able to dive bomb them, and then we're going to have even more fun out here and probably more battles.
Elliott,
more frustrated drivers.
Elliott finally completes that pass for 4th place, and now Scott Bloomquist in the gold car, looking underneath Ernie Francis Jr. in the yellow car for 2nd.
I thought Scott was really smart and just saying he was taking it easy and making sure that he didn't do anything silly at this point in time, but I mean, he's running strong now.
You said you wanted a slide job?
I want a slide job.
He just showed you one right there. Ran in on the bottom side. Caution for debris. Apparently a couple of cars have bounced off each other. And someone has left something behind. Well, we can't have that. So Johnny Benson will wheel the SRX Series 34 Ford pace car out in front of the field, and we'll get yellow flag number 1 of our feature event. There's JB. Oh, there it is. I'm willing to venture out on a limb that won't be the last piece of bodywork we see laying on the racetrack by the time we're done with our main event.
Might be leaving it that size out there at the end. There'll be so much.
I know, folks. That's a bold statement of me, huh?
We're hopeful. I mean, who said that? Sorry.
All right. Well, it won't take long. AMR safety team will get out there, scoop it up, and we should go back racing in just a lap or so. So Tony Stewart, 11 times a winner of the Knoxville Nationals. We talked to you about the big prestigious sprint car race as a team owner, and he's having a pretty fine event here tonight.
Get a look over there on the right side of your screen. You see the dash. You can see RPM. You look, there's oil temp probably on the right, top right. On the left, top left is probably going to be water temperature. Those are the 2 different things that you watch all the time, especially in stock car racing. You probably got water pressure. The dash has changed a good few years back, but this is definitely a step into technology to see a glass screen inside of these dirt cars.
Yep. Cleanup continues. We'll take a break. The main event from Knoxville continues in a minute. Just about wrapping up the cleanup here at Knoxville Raceway and about set to get our feature event back underway in a moment. Race fans, together with Camping World, let's raise $1 million to battle food insecurity in our communities. Camping World will match all individual donations up to $500,000. You can learn more at platingchange.com. So 1 to go is the signal. They'll come back around for a restart with 4 green flag laps completed in our 50-lap main event. Paul Tracy's car, pretty battered and beaten. That's pretty good.
That outside front straight wall has owned him.
Yes.
Just owned him. I mean, his car.
And since they were picking up all the debris
It looked
down
like they're
the front
pushing
stretch,
that car back out of the way.
that would be a pretty good indicator that that's where it came from. Doesn't look like Paul's going to be able to continue in the main event. Pace car's off. We are about to go racing. Bill Elliott just pulled up out of line in turn 4 as the green flag waves and the field goes off to turn 1. Elliott coasting slowly inside 1 and 2 as the field steams off at the other end of the racetrack. Scott Bloomquist in the gold car looking underneath Tony Stewart in the orange car for the race lead. Who really know how to read the dirt and find that moisture and look for the grip.
A little further back there for 4th and 5th, you've got Waltrip and Deegan. Waltrip just getting inside of her left rear. I mean, Waltrip's out there starting fights, so I'm not saying that he's beyond bumping a little bit right here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. There's the Waltrip slide. That's what I'm calling it anyway right now.
There's a great big berm. It's almost a little bit of an optical illusion on television, but there's about a 2-foot berm at the bottom of the racetrack, and if you bounce off that with the left side tire getting into the corner, it'll throw you right up the racetrack into the car that's to your outside.
I don't think that's what happened, though, Alan. I think he just used her.
He just used it up?
Yeah, that's calling using him up.
Here's for the lead, Bloomquist underneath Stewart.
Got a bunch of side-by-sides. 1st and 2nd. 4th and 5th, 6th and 7th, spinning 3 and 4. That looks like Brian Brown.
And someone up the racetrack into the outside wall was Castro Neves trying to avoid the accident. And Elio is going to go straight to the pit lane with big damage to the right front of his car. So caution number 2. And you see the right front damage on the Castro Neves machine.
Right front looks locked up. Bodywork's gotten into it.
Suspension broken. Okay, let's have a look. This is Brian Brown's on board.
He just got in a little hot. You know, you saw him use up Marco, another car getting used up, but he just couldn't hold on to it. He bumped him a little bit, but it just kept coming around on him.
Well, the damage toll adding up quickly. Matt?
And you can add Paul Tracy to that list, and we're going to have to wait until Eldora for Chapter 2 of Waltrip versus Tracy. So what's your takeaway of your first big run here on the dirt?
Well, I love it. I mean, I felt I drove really well. I was making passes. I came through the field in the first heat, was holding my own, trying to save the tires for the end in the second heat. And then Michael comes along, just drives over me like I'm a pinball or something. So I don't know. He's going to get one, man. He's got one coming, that's for sure.
And the fun?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I'm having a blast. Our car, it overheated in the end. I don't know what's going on, but it ran up to 250 degrees, and we couldn't get it to cool off, and we don't want to blow these motors up. These guys work too hard to get this car out for next week. We don't need a blown up motor.
All right, thanks, Paul. AB?
Okay, Matt, thanks. Paul was, as advertised tonight, standing on the gas.
Yeah. You're seeing a lot of that, though. I'm wondering what else is going on with that overheating. That could have been Bill Elliott, but Paul Tracy had a pretty fun day.
Yes, he did. The thrill from West Hill gave us plenty of thrills tonight. Most times off turn number 4 here at Knoxville Raceway.
Fun to watch. Here's number 1. Side by side, second hit on the wall. That right front, third time. Can only do so much.
There's the flying 360 into the wall. He had another flying 360 at the end of the heat races. And Paul, remember, started 11th in the first heat race and ran all the way up toward the front, finished 5th. Then had the problems in the second heat race, so...
But was looking great. I mean, passing for second on the front straightaway. So he's right. He was running great. I mean, he was doing a great job. I mean, he's a wheelman. So it's a bummer we didn't get to see this all play out. Not only just how well he could do, but also, you know, how it was going to pan out with Michael, because it's always fun to watch. But look, gave us something to talk about up here. We've got a rivalry going on. This is what dreams are made out of. Come on.
It was fun. And again, Paul had a good time, and he'll be back. He gets another chance at the dirt next Saturday night when we go to Tony Stewart's Eldora Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio.
Another super famous dirt track.
Yes.
Knoxville and Eldora are really the most famous dirt tracks, and so it's no wonder that they're on this Superstar Racing Series lineup, because they're iconic.
All right, 1 to go is the signal. Tony Stewart has chosen the outside lane for the restart in that orange car. So this will be interesting. With Bloomquist to his inside, as you look at Scott Bloomquist, 57-year-old from Tennessee. Scott involved in a terrible motorcycle accident in late March 2019. Long recovery for a period of time. And he's a professional racer. After he started racing, he didn't have all the feeling in his right leg.
Oh, wow.
And it came back, and here he is. And a look at Tony Stewart with Bloomquist to his inside as we come through turn number 4 and get ready for the restart.
Well, that looked pretty easy for Tony. Just right down the front straightaway in front of him. You know,
timing is everything.
Yeah, and I think that's widening out and getting grip higher up the track.
Waltrip to the inside of Francis. The blue car advances, slides up a little bit. Can Francis come back? In the yellow machine. Nice pass, Michael Waltrip. Now Francis and Haley Deegan for 4th place. Deegan subbing for Tony Kanaan, whose commitments to his racing in his native Brazil took him away this weekend. TK with backspin, turn 3. That's Brian Brown. 3 wide in turn 4 as the yellow flag comes out. They'll have to calm that down.
Looked like we were about to have another spin.
Yeah.
You know, Marco is, no. Marco, and who's that? Ernie Francis Jr.? Okay. All right. Let's see this one play out. That was frustration. I mean, that happens, you know, when it goes caution, you're a little heated. You're like, hey, buddy, I see you. You feel me? This is another one that's going to play out.
All right, let's go back and show you the reason for the yellow flag. There's Brown. Just got tagged together with Willie T. Ribbs. And around he went.
He needed more of that car on the outside to lean into. He only had one corner of it, so it helped him spin.
You saw Willie chasing it. You see the left front tire of Willie's car. He was chasing it, coming up off the corner. Well, maybe that's the reason he was chasing it. Got tagged first.
Yeah, he did.
All right, well, I'd say no harm, no foul. Everybody's continued in the race. Whether some felt they were fouled or not, I guess we'll have to find out. We're doubled up for the restart. Off turn 4. This time Stewart on the inside and Bloomquist on the outside.
Still gets it, but I think that there's the outside lane.
Wow, look at Deegan go.
Look at that. Coming up the outside, right on the outside of Tony. Got to run on him down the back straightaway.
Spin at the back of the pack. Willie T. Ribbs, will he keep it going? Will we stay under green?
Nope.
He's trying, but the yellow flag's going to have to come out.
What happened there?
Well, spun out. That I can say for sure. After that, why he wasn't able to get going, that I can't answer.
If he got tapped from behind it all. It looked like he really was going straight in the middle of the corner. We've got an onboard here to be able to see if maybe that was the case.
Might be able to hear it too. pushed up and bounced off the side of Castroneves.
Maybe. He could have had some help. Some good battles at the front here.
So we'll double them up and try this restart again with Stewart inside of Bloomquist, and Deegan has to go back to the outside of Michael Waltrip for a restart. We've completed 8 green flag laps in our main event. Bloomquist in gold, Stewart in orange. Green flag from the starter's stand. Here we go again.
Oh, slippery up high. Slippery.
What a save.
You can hear the crowd from inside here.
Now Deegan to the outside of Stewart, and Waltrip looking down low for the race lead. Bloomquist all the way back to 8th place. You know, I know we got a car way wide in 3 and 4. That's Castroneves, kept it off the wall. We stay under the green flag.
It's getting exciting up at the front. Let's have a look at how everything's been going down here.
This is the save from Bloomquist.
2 narrow lanes of grip, but if you get up just a little bit too high, it looks like everybody's having a problem and getting a little over rotated there. You want to be sideways, just leave that sideways. This is on board from Bloomquist. See, just it's dusty. It looks dusty up there. That's not mud. There's no grip up there. That just looks like loose dirt.
Michael Waltrip all over the back of Tony Stewart for the race lead. You know, Michael likes to be very self-deprecating as he looks inside of Stewart for the top spot. Michael lost 55 pounds to get in shape to do this.
It looks great.
He doesn't have a lot of experience racing on dirt. Here he is.
I like that Michael's willing to put it on the inside, put it to a car, side by side, get the body work. We've got great camera angles that can pick up those kinds of cool things. That's one of the great things about the SRX series. We've got so many cameras, so many angles, outside of the driver, inside of the driver, inside the cockpit, drones flying around looking like big birds. You won't miss a thing.
He's going to get the lead here. Michael Waltrip to the lead at Knoxville.
Let's see what Tony does here. I don't know. My intuition tells me we might get a little feel here for Tony putting the pressure on Michael to see how it goes. See if he can get him to make a mistake.
Well, Tony's got enough pressure as well, as Hailie Deegan is right there looking for a way around him. Look at Michael up 6 positions since the start of the race.
Man, that's impressive.
Including when he said he got his toe on the wrong side of the toe strap under the car.
He's such a character. Michael's so fun to listen to.
That's why we love him. Matt, Michael Waltrip having a great run.
It's nice and smooth like you are there.
All right, we'll catch back up with Matt in a minute. Now remember, it was at Stafford a week ago when Michael in one of the races was out to about a half a straightaway lead.
I was just going to talk about that. He did the exact same thing at Stafford. He just pulled away and made it look easy.
And then the caution came out and he got knocked around and swallowed up, and it didn't work out as he was hoping. Matt, you there now?
I'm down here up here, road. The action has calmed down, at least here on the pits, but it's certainly heating up out there. You know, when you talk to Michael Waltrip, his approach to SRX is simple. He got the invite. It's something that he missed from the old IROC series. He told me this is his chance to prove what a good driver he is. If he walks away without a trophy from any of the 6 races, he says he won't view this as being a success.
Isn't that ironic that someone that can win the Daytona 500 twice is saying, I want to prove to people that I can drive? I think that's just the mentality of, being someone that really pushes and pushes and you know, still human. Like, we have insecurities. You can go do great things and still feel insecure. And I think none of us are beyond that, including a 2-time Daytona 500 winner. So,
yeah, Michael has used his self-deprecating humor. So, okay, class clown sometimes. It's a great advantage. I mean, a longtime broadcaster of for Fox and auto racing, and yet sometimes maybe that self-deprecation has worked against him in terms of how people view his racing accomplishments. For the lead, Tony Stewart outside of Waltrip.
well, you can hear how funny he is. I mean, we go to interview him, he's goofy, but he can also drive a race car.
Yes, he can.
It's a good battle up here. Haley Deegan's been really tight on Tony. Now she's behind Waltrip. I wonder if Tony's playing around. I wonder if he's getting a feel for things. I don't know. Maybe we should talk to him. Maybe not right this very moment.
That's a possibility.
I know we could. We have that ability to talk during green, but something about the driver in me goes, maybe not right now.
Yeah. Waltrip is trying to find a way back inside of Stewart here off turn 4. I don't think there's anybody as passionate about dirt track racing as Tony Stewart.
Stacked.
Here comes Waltrip looking.
It's not as easy as you would think it'd be to bump and push people out of the way. I mean, trust me, I tried it and I failed miserably. Like, I was not very good at it. I'd take myself out. And because, if you're going, if you had enough momentum to get by him, you just do it or you take another lane. But instead, you're having to overdrive to get to him, and sometimes it puts you out of control to actually get to him.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly something on people's minds as we race on the dirt tonight, halfway through our main event on a Saturday night in Knoxville, Iowa. Knoxville Raceway in Iowa, the sprint car capital of the world, hosting race number 2 of the Camping World SRX Series on a Saturday night. We're just past the 30-lap mark, or just hitting the 30-lap mark of 50 in our main event. And the race for the lead is a good one. Tony Stewart in the orange car being pursued heavily by Michael Waltrip in the blue car. Ernie Francis, solid run up to 3rd in the yellow machine. Haley Deegan is 4th. Bill Elliott up to 5th position. Scott Bloomquist, remember, after racing Stewart for the lead for a bit, the big slide wide in 2 has fallen back to 6th.
Got Tony's pass for the lead here on Waltrip. Waltrip got a little sideways off the corner, probably lost a little bit of momentum, was just enough to open up the door for Tony to get on the outside. And again, that upper lane just allows for a little bit more momentum. When you're pinched down low, it's just, you're asking a lot of the right rear.
Got a spin in turn 4. It's Scott Bloomquist has gone around and brought the yellow flag out in this race.
Haley's on board here. Will maybe give us a glimpse of what happened.
Yeah, look back.
Oh, with Elio. Let's see it from outside the car here. We're going to get another glimpse. Yeah, we missed the first tap, but when you're running back there, you want to get going.
So caution out. 33 complete. And Scott Bloomquist trying to work his way back up front after being in the lead of this main event a while ago. Under the caution flag in our main event tonight here at Knoxville, Iowa, Tony Stewart is the race leader. Brad Daugherty is downstairs.
Yeah, AB, the interesting thing about these SRX cars is that they're built square, so the weight is in the middle of the race car. So it doesn't give anyone an advantage of any discipline. And what you're seeing here in this right rear tire is the weight gets over so hard on that right rear tire, it absolutely eats the tire down to the tread. So that's what we're seeing. That's why these guys are slipping and sliding around so bad. And these cars are a handful to drive because of the weight. There's not a lot of left side weight. It's centrally distributed. So it takes a lot of talent.
Yeah, and how you work the gas pedal has a big effect on how hard that wear is on these tires. So Scott Bloomquist, I mentioned before, making his way back to Top Shelf Racing. There he got spun around by the contact from Castro Neves in turn number 4.
Down into turn 3. Yeah. Little love tap.
He didn't love it.
No.
So he's been
Not to
on.
love about that when you're in the car.
No, he's been on pit road and back off again as the SRX crew paid a little bit of attention to his car. Now we have Bill Elliott stopped on the track at the exit of turn number 2. So this caution is going to be extended for just a minute.
Let's see if we can get Tony on the radio. We've still got time. Smoke, you got me on the radio?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me about it out there. How's it going?
That tall 6 foot whatever the hell he is guy, he's giving me fits out here. He's rolling around pretty good. So is Ernie Francis. So I mean, this isn't a walk in the park here. You got to hit your marks. And there's definitely spots on the track that Michael's better than I am. Spots I feel like that I'm a little bit better than he is. So I just got to try to maintain the advantage I got in the spot I'm good at, and got to have to figure out how to get better in the spot that he's better.
Where are you better?
I feel like I'm pretty good in 1 and 2. I feel like he's better than me in 3 and 4. So I just gotta try to figure out what to do and how to move around a little bit to try to get myself a little better here.
All right, well, good luck. You know, Michael likes to use those fenders, so if he gets inside, you be ready.
Yeah, he likes being close to the front here, so, I mean, you aren't going to be able to give him an inch here. He'll take a mile, so he's doing good. I mean, it's pretty cool to see Michael, who's not really a dirt driver, and Ernie Francis isn't a dirt driver at all, and these guys are hauling ass, so it's fun. These cars are fun to drive around here.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Tony Stewart, who is leading the race. We just mentioned Michael Waltrip while they just pushed Bill Elliott's car back in. Let's see if we can talk to Mikey.
Let's see. Michael, this is Danica. You got me?
I got you loud and clear.
All right. Battle Royal out there with Smoke. Tell me, how are you going to get by him?
Well, he's pretty good. I think he's won a championship or 2. But I like this, man. I feel like I can get him. You know, I might have to bump him a little bit, and I don't think it's time for that. But I'm a little bit worried about this start being up here on the outside. But I haven't raced dirt in 10 years, and I got to tell you, there's a big smile on my face. This is really cool.
I tell you what, bud, you look really good out there. I think outside's going to be all right. You get a little momentum off the corner, clear them. I mean, you've been running away with it every time you get in the lead, so good luck.
Thanks. Appreciate y'all being here. It's a big show on a Saturday night.
Well, Michael Waltrip having fun here. Racing Tony Stewart for the race lead as we get ready to go back at it. So Bill Elliott's car is on the pit lane. It was pushed back in by a safety truck again and appeared not to be under power. Remember, it was at Stafford a week ago that the Elliott had trouble with the fuel pressure in his car.
That's right. He slowed down earlier tonight, too, and it went caution, I think, before that they could lap him. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe somebody's got some kind of report down there that we could check in and see.
Yeah, I'll bet Matt's all over it. We'll hear from him as soon as he's got the news for us. But
That doesn't sound right.
Sounds like.
I mean, that's exhaust, or it could be. Sometimes it could. It looks like he's taking his helmet off. Unfortunately.
Oh man.
Sometimes that kind of sound can be body work, but that could be exhaust too.
All right, we're coming to the green flag. 32 complete under the green. And it's out, and Tony Stewart gets the big jump on Michael Waltrip. Ernie Francis in the yellow car looks for second place, and he's got it.
Michael, get right on, Ernie.
How about Elio
He didn't wanna lose that.
Castroneves through to third place. He was on pit road with a right front tire that wasn't turning earlier. They got him fixed up, and he's rolling.
Good thing about these short tracks is you don't need the body work. You know, when you get to the bigger tracks and you're going a lot faster, aerodynamics matter. but that's why we're all at short tracks, because the bodywork is not so critical.
Waltrip got a nudge and pushed up out of the lane. Here goes Hailie Deegan through. So Michael struggling after the restart. He's back to 5th place.
This is coming out of turn 2 on that restart. I'm sure Mike was frustrated, you know. He's running up there next to Tony, trying to take the lead, hoping for it. All of a sudden, he finds himself a few spots back.
He did express concern about being on that outside lane on the restart. I know you tried to give him the confidence there, but right now Michael back to 5th place and has some work to do to get back toward the front. Tell you, Ernie Francis Jr. has had precious few laps ever of racing on dirt. He went out on a track down in South Florida where he lives called Henry County Speedway a couple of weeks ago before we started with our SRX series. Jumped in what they call a mod light car, won the heat, and won the feature at that local track.
Wow.
He's showing that he learned some lessons well here tonight, running in 2nd.
Learned some lessons. He won it all. He sounds like he's a natural.
Yeah. Good young man. Fun to talk to. Got a lot of energy about him. Just so passionate about racing. His dad's here with him, his family. Great folks to be around. Had some laughs with him yesterday here. And for Ernie and the other drivers who are used to racing with windshields, now they're racing on a dirt track without a windshield in front of them. What's that like?
Well, you've got dirt. You've got dirt flying around. You've got wind flying around. There's all these different little elements that can sometimes not maybe be the biggest deal as much as just a little annoying. Yeah. You know, you've got dirt inside your helmet. You're working on trying to keep it out. Sometimes you have to use like skirts that go down from the bottom of your helmet so that things don't get up into it. There's a lot of other little things to think about. I think Matt's got a report down on pit lane.
Well, they have pushed Bill Elliott's car behind the wall. Currently, Rick Wren is talking to Bill Elliott. They have topped it off with fuel, seeing if maybe that's possibly what the issue is, a fuel pickup problem. Still not quite sure. Bill, same issue as what you had at Stafford?
Same problem. Same deal, yeah. We're going to try to go back out and make a few more laps.
So they topped it off with fuel. They're going to go back out and see if maybe there's a fuel pickup problem in the cell.
All right, that's tough luck for Bill. 2 weeks in a row here, and they'll want to get that solved tonight if they can, because he'll have that same car for the remaining 4 races of the series.
Right, they're keeping with these same cars so that we keep the same colors so that we can start to identify the drivers consistently over the weekends. But that's great as long as everything's working fine, but when it's not.
So look back at Bobby Labonte. You know, Bobby not a dirt track driver, but he's a dirt track businessman. Owned a dirt late model team for a couple of years, and his brother Terry, and Justin Labonte own Longhorn Chassis. They make dirt late model race cars. They just sold their 600th race car this week. And having a great deal of success on the late model circuit this year. So 3rd place is the action spot at the moment. Castroneves in the red car and Deegan in the pink machine. And Haley's had a couple of looks at the 4-time Indy 500 winner, but not found a way around yet. Maybe this time.
That was a good run off the corner. Clear. You know, this is something that I'm calling it like a spotter would call it. I mean, that's another thing to remember for the people watching is that, you know, we're so used to as drivers having spotters.
Come on, you can do it.
I mean, that's encouraging and all, but that's not someone in your ear saying clear, clear. So, you know, you've got to be really aware of your mirrors, yes, but, you know, that's not always the easiest thing to look at. So you really have to be aware of the rate at which you pass them, and you've got to go off of feel. So, you know, there's extra elements out here for these drivers.
Now, one of the elements that Hailie Deegan's facing is time is running out. She's up to 3rd, but now we have 6 laps to go in our main event. Francis in the yellow machine, Deegan in the magenta car, and Tony Stewart out in front, coming down to 5 to go.
The kids.
Yeah.
Ernie Francis, what is he, 23?
Yes.
Haley's 19?
Yep.
Tony's a little older. That's Ernie's dad right there. Talked about just learning so much from him, and we saw him working with him in the garage. And they just, you know, there's nothing like a dad. You know, it's Father's Day weekend, so I should say happy early Father's Day, Dad. I mean, I learned so much from my dad. He was the one that taught me everything.
Yep. Dad's the one that got me interested in racing. And certainly hope he has a great day tomorrow also. So second place there. Look at Deegan all over the back bumper of Francis. Now you talked about trying to get to someone's bumper, and maybe it doesn't always work out. The risk-reward benefits in those calculations as the laps wind down turn more toward risk. Castroneves just got way wide off of turn 4, but he saved it. Michael Waltrip got by him for 4th. We watch this race for 2nd.
The best thing that you can do is if she can get close enough to him in the middle of the corner to tap
Watch
him.
that going behind you. She gets to you, she's going to put a fender to you.
Yep. Just give him a little tap right in the middle of the corner. That way it's harder to get the power down off the corner, and then hopefully you can get a little bit of momentum on him, get inside of him, or at least get to his outside right rear, but it's probably going to take a fender.
Slide wide by Francis. Deegan couldn't quite get there.
Got to hit him a little harder.
White flag. We are on the last lap here in Knoxville. Stewart leads the race for 2nd.
Come on.
Deegan inside of Francis down the backstretch. Gonna clear him, but off turn 4, the checkered flag and a feature win in the SRX Series to Tony Stewart. He wins over Hailie Deegan and Ernie Francis Jr. at Knoxville in SRX race number 2. Pun intended, you could say he smoked him tonight.
Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate that. You did a great job. Good fun.
That's the voice of Mike Beam, celebrity crew chief for Tony Stewart.
Tony wearing out the right rear now that he can.
Led 43 of the 50 laps in the main event, did Stewart, though it wasn't easy. Remember the challenges from Bloomquist earlier, and then Waltrip in the main event. Tony with 11 victories here at Knoxville as a team owner. This is his first as a driver.
Camping World SRX Series on CBS is sponsored by Progressive. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. And by FedEx, where now meets next.
Welcome back to Knoxville, where the celebration has begun. It is Tony Stewart once again finding victory here at Knoxville. A reminder, coming up next here on CBS is 48 Hours. Right now, it is all about Tony Stewart, who is standing beside our Matt Yoakum. Matt?
The Knoxville Nationals is the Daytona and Indy 500 of sprint car racing. Tony Stewart, an 11-time Knoxville Nationals winner. As an owner, what's this mean to score a win here as the driver?
Hell, it's the first time I've been in victory lane at Knoxville. You kidding me? This is where I've watched Donnie Schatz and Steve Kinzer and the greatest of the greats in sprint car racing. So I've never seen one come in backwards like this, but it's this is the place I've always wanted to be for sure. So this is pretty cool.
You won the last IROC race. You won the last championship. So you know the significance of history. What's it mean for you to score a win here in SRX?
Like I said, it's this is the sprint car capital of the world, and I want to thank Spire and Kendra Jacobs and all the Knoxville staff and all the Knoxville fans. They're not used to 10 tops, and if they see 10, they want to see it on top of.
Good podium finish for Ernie Francis, guys.
All right, Matt, thanks. Danica, you've been with us for the first 2 races of SRX. We didn't really know what to expect, especially tonight on the dirt. What'd you think?
I think we saw some drivers that we weren't expecting to do well do really well. But I think what we saw tonight was that if you were smart, if you were methodical, if you didn't get your car into the wall, if you weren't bumping and banging too much and you kept it in one piece, it seemed like you had a really good night. So super impressed with Hailie. She did a great job. Ernie Francis Jr. did an incredible job. And Michael Waltrip, you heard it from Tony. He was going to have to go to therapy if he beat him. So I think that just speaks volumes about how well that Michael did. But I thought that was a great night of racing. Lots of bumping and banging and, rivalries. I think that's so fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun, and thank you very much. And I think the funnest thing for me, Lindsay, all the smiles on the drivers' faces when they're getting out of the race cars.
That's such a good point, Alan. Seriously, I even saw Paul Tracy up in the hospitality tent, and he was all smiles, so that says something. Here's your podium. Tony Stewart, of course, first. Hailie Deegan, and I cannot say enough, this girl said she had a 10-minute layover this morning in Minnesota. She hauled it through the airport just to make it here, and look what she did tonight. Third, Ernie Francis Jr., his father was getting emotional watching him race for the lead at the end there. What a cool night, and you're exactly right, the smiles on their faces. We know that's going to continue next week when we go to Eldora Speedway. You're telling me Tony Stewart is not excited for that. He can't wait to get everybody at his house next Saturday, followed by we go into Lucas Oil Raceway, Slinger Speedway, back on the dirt, and then wrapping things up at Nashville Fairgrounds. Again, what a fun night it was here on the dirt track. Everybody having a blast. So for Alan Bestwick, Brad Doherty, Matt Yoakum, and Danica Patrick, I'm Lindsay Zarniak saying so long from Knoxville, Iowa. Coming up next on CBS, as we said, 48 hours. Congratulations again to our winner, Tony Stewart, tonight. We're so thankful for you turning in to watch this epic, amazing adventure on the dirt. We hope you had as much fun as we did.